Good afternoon and welcome to today's success webinar. I'm Tom Drost, co-founder of EstimateRocket, the mobile and desktop software that helps thousands of contractors manage and lead to paid. If you're a service contractor, check us out at EstimateRocket.com after this webinar. Really pleased to have the honor of introducing your guest host for today's webinar, Tom Reeber. Tom is a Marine veteran, the host of the Contractor Fight podcast, and the co-founder of the Contractor Sales Academy. He's also owned a successful residential painting company outside of Chicago, creating millions in revenue. Now, he's in charge of kicking contractors in the ass for bigger and greater success. I think we'll hear a little bit of that today. Today, Tom's going to talk about a hot topic on a cold day in Boston, how to keep the phone ringing once a year, regardless of how cold it is outside. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Tom.
Thanks, buddy. Good to see you, man. Thanks for having me back.
Likewise. Pleasure to have you always.
So there we are on a cold day in your neck of the woods, and it's like 45 where I live in Colorado, and I'm not complaining, so I'll take that. So, Tom, where are we looking at? Are we looking in the chat box? Are we looking in the question box? What are we doing today? Where can I have people type things?
Question box, probably the best place. I'll keep an eye on that, and if anything pops up, I'll give you a heads up on that.
Sounds good. Well, I'd like to first start by I just want to get a feel for who's here. Like, what's your trade? And so if you could just type like, hey, painter, Boston, or whatever it is, that would help me a lot, guys, as I know exactly who is on here, and I can taper some of the examples and some of the things we talk about, to that. So don't be bashful with that. So we got Kevin, South Carolina painter, or that's either Southern California, right? I don't know, but I'm going to say South Carolina. All right, here we go. We got Bob, Rhode Island. What do we got? We got, I'm trying to keep up with it here. Maryland. We got Mike. Concrete. Awesome. Good stuff. Epoxy floors. We got window and door contractor in Des Moines. What's up, Matt? Ronald. Good to see you guys. All right, cool. So guys, listen, when you put a title out here, like how to get the phone ringing in your business, one of the biggest struggles with that is I find that a lot of times people will get on, they're expecting a step-by-step how-to playbook to do that with very tactical type things. And I'm going to give you a little bit of that at the end of the call. But what I'm really going to dig into is if you want to keep your phone ringing 12 months a year, you want to have leads not being a problem. It's really a mindset and leadership issue, is what I found over the years coaching, so many contractors and things like that. And so the reason that we're doing it this month right now is because most contractors, and you can type yes in the box if you're one of these guys, suffer from what I call SBD. And some of you guys might have heard me talk about this before. I call it seasonal broke disorder. Okay. And I see it all the time with home improvement contractors where everything's going crazy and it's awesome in the summertime and demand is high and this and that. And then all of a sudden the brakes get put on when the weather changes. I have one guy I'm thinking of right now that had his whole winter booked with one big project and it went away. They postponed the thing and now the guy's like, trying to figure out how he's going to feed his family and things like that. So just out of curiosity, share with me how many leads a month are you getting on average? And you can average the whole year if you want. It doesn't have to be right now. But I'm just curious about how many leads a month do you guys get in your business? Go ahead and type that in when you can. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to kind of dig in here. But guys, the typical contractor marketing plan, all right, Ronald's got about 40, so that's good. You're over a lead a day. And guys, just for the record here, my personal opinion is if you're not averaging 2 to 3 leads a day, you're going to have a really hard time having more than just a job. Okay, like Michael here's got 90 to 100 a month. Yeah, Ronald, I know it's seasonal and stuff. Kevin's got 30. listen, I had a guy on my podcast the other day, Alan Ferguson. He's from Australia. He's a plumber guy and stuff like that. The guy got his company did, they do 20 million a year, and he got 35,000 leads last year. And let me tell you this: if you ever heard me run my mouth before, guys, I'm a big fan of charging more money and adding more value to your clients. And I'll tell you right now, if lead generation is not the number one priority in your business, leads and sales, you're going to have a really hard time being bold in the sales process. Because when your phone is only ringing once a day or once every other day or whatever it is, it's really hard to raise your prices. It's really hard to stand firm when somebody, wants you to drop your shorts and things like that. So anyway, appreciate you guys sharing this with me with 40, 35, 30, 35. Okay, cool. So guys, the typical contractor basically finds a wall and throws a bunch of crap against it and tries to market. Like, I'm going to build a website and I'm going to have Wix do it, or Facebook thing, or, hey, I knew a guy that did flyers and whatever it is, or maybe you got called by one of those local, companies like Yelp or whatever, and they're, or the coupon mailer book and things like that, or, hey, I'm going to throw some yard signs. I want to get the word out. As a lot of guys, I just got to get the word out. I used to personally say, my old business partner and I, we'd be like, at this time of year, we'd be like, we got to go beat some bushes. Anyone ever had to beat some bushes? That's what this is all about, man. And then there's guys that have this, they don't have any sort of marketing plan, because they just say, I don't need to market. All my work is word of mouth. Now, as awesome as that is, you're going to have a really hard time ever scaling to a point where the business truly serves you and you're not a slave to it if most of your leads or all of your leads are simply just word of mouth. I mean, I'm blown away by how many guys have been in business 15, 20 years. They're crying broke, and yet they don't have a website. They don't wrap their trucks. They don't show up in a uniform with their people and things like that. Guys, this stuff matters, and I'm begging you to get serious about creating a marketing plan. And it doesn't have to be tricky, okay? But listen, when we don't have that plan, we're wasting time, okay? And when you don't have a plan and you're not tracking things, it doesn't seem like anything's working, or the things you think are working really aren't. And so you end up guessing, okay? When you don't have a plan, you fall prey to the new thing. I mean, I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars I wasted through the years because I didn't have a plan, and then my phone wasn't ringing. And so some marketing guy calls me up, and the next thing I know, I'm locked into some $800 a month payment or something, and I don't even know why. Okay. It's also hard when you don't have enough leads, guys. It's hard to build a team, because winners will not stay with a company that has inconsistent work. Okay. And then, that result is you just never get over that hump. I talk to guys all the time. I've been at 300 grand for 5 years, and it's usually a couple things. One of those things is they don't have a solid marketing plan and a growth plan. Can anyone relate to that? Just curious. All right. Michael says, Facebook's been a game changer for us in 2018 and the start of 2019. Absolutely, man. I think there's so many things out there, but see, and we're going to get into this, Michael. I'm super happy for you, but see, Facebook is what I call a tactic. It's a tool. Okay. And so some of the things that we're going to talk about here today are going to be more strategic, more mindset type things. Okay. So a good marketing plan has to start with a vision or some clarity. Where do I want to go? Okay. Where do I want to take my business? What kind of projects do I want to be doing? Okay. Most of us just, we build a website, we offer a few different services, and we run some ads, but we don't have a real targeted approach, and it's more of a shotgun approach than it is a sniper rifle. And I'm going to encourage you guys to pull out the sniper rifle and put your crosshairs on the things that you want. Okay. And we're going to dig into these a little bit as we go. Okay. But we're also need to just ask these simple questions. Where do I want to go? What needs to be accomplished in order to get there? What tools and resources are available to us? Who's going to do the work? Is it going to be me or somebody else? Okay. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this page here because I want to get into this. So be clear. This clarity thing is huge. Okay. So here's a couple examples. And I'm going to ask you guys to type in an example for your own business on a clarity statement for your marketing. Okay. So be thinking about it. But listen, my goal is to double the number of my ideal customers in 2015 or whatever it is, whatever the year is. I don't know why I wrote 2015. Or I want to increase my average job size by $500 over the next 90 days. Or I want to increase revenue on interior painting projects by X amount of dollars in a certain zip code. Okay. I used to break our marketing plan down to zip codes. I would look at, go, where is our, not the most sales, not the most leads, where does the most profit come from in my business? And that's where, with this whole clarity thing. So do me a favor, type something in the box that came to mind that you would like to see in your business in 2019 and beyond. Don't be bashful. What do we got? While you do that, I'm going to take a drink of water. This is this clarity stuff, guys, is where most people fail in business. They don't take the time to really identify exactly what they want and exactly what they don't want. Okay? All right. So Michael says we want to do another 2,000 leads for the year. Okay? What kind of leads do you want? That's what I'm going to ask you to do. I want, is there a certain service you offer? Okay? Because the more clear you are, the more likely you are to hit the goal that you put out there. And hopefully that makes sense to everybody. All right. Tom, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, totally.
All right,
And I know we've got a variety of different, trades on the line here. So Michael said, we do concrete raising. So I think drilling into the how to even segment your market is actually, an important piece of that puzzle.
Absolutely. And that's where I'm going, Michael, with the more clarity. If that's the service you offer, then is there a certain neighborhood? Is there a certain zip code? Is there a certain type of customer that when you job cost and you look year in and year out, you have the highest closing rate there, you have the highest profit margin on those jobs and things like that? Okay, so guys, don't be afraid to get really, really specific when you're creating your marketing plan. Now you can have a couple different objectives if you want to. Okay, but what I look for is the low-hanging fruit. Like, hey, if I were to accomplish this thing, it would be like jet fuel, like rocket fuel for this clarity thing, y'all. All right. And Ronald says double the number of leads for garage floor coating installations. Love it. Okay. So guys, because my guess there, Ronald, is that's high margin work for you. It's in your sweet spot. I don't want to be attracting a bunch of leads that aren't the type of sweet spot projects that I want. That's really the whole point here. And you don't want to make a lot of mistakes with spending money you don't have to just to have leads that aren't a good fit. All right. So how do we accomplish whatever your goal is for your marketing? So I want you to think of two things. The first is strategy. See, most of us go, I need to market my business, and we go right to, I need to do Google Ads, or I need to do yard signs, or whatever it is. But before you get into that, you got to go, the strategy is the how you're going to get there. So if my goal is to double the number of ideal clients, strategy, I want you to think, what if? Ask a what if question. One of the greatest things I was ever taught was this what if statement. Okay? So when you say, yeah, I want to grow my customer list on garage coatings or whatever it is, by 100 people this year, 100 new customers on garage floors or whatever. Then you think, okay, well, what if and then you start listing things off. Okay. What if I built a list of 50 influencers that are already in these people's homes? Or what if there were 50, home inspectors that knew who I was? All right. Think of one of the best examples ever, you guys, was you look at Domino's years and years ago when they did the whole, for you guys that are older, we deliver your pizza in 30 minutes or it's free. They wanted to increase market share, and they didn't go right to, hey, let's run ads and blah, blah, blah. They went to a what if statement, the strategy. And their strategy was, we are going to be known as the company that delivers pizza the fastest. And that's what a strategy is. So maybe you want to, there was a neighborhood that I wanted to dominate my company years ago. And so I didn't go, let's do direct mail. Even though we ended up doing that, I started with a strategy statement saying, and when we brainstorm, everything had to start with what if, okay? And the what if can't be what I'm about to show you in this next screen is a tactic. See, a tactic is a tool. Social media is a tactic. It's not a strategy, all right? Going to a networking event is a tactic to help you accomplish something. And so when you understand the difference between a strategy and a tactic in your business and your marketing plan, the cool thing is your strategy could stay the same. So for instance, one of my strategies has always been, in any industry that I'm in, I want to be known as the best educator in my market, in my industry. And that's why I create a lot of content. Now, the way I create that content could change based on, what's going on in the world. Maybe, what you call it. Oh, you guys haven't even seen my screen this whole time?
My bad.
Sorry. Oops. So what if I could be the best educator in garage floor coatings in my area? That is a strategy. The tactic, the tool might be, I'm going to do Facebook Lives. I'm going to do YouTube. I'm going to speak at, home improvement shows or whatever it might be. I'm going to write my blog. I'm going to, there's a million different things that we could do to fulfill that strategy. And then those are the things that we're tracking. Does that make sense, everybody, the difference between a strategy and a tactic? Because most people go immediately to tactics. Okay, I've done it. It's easy to do because you're hearing, hey, the flavor of the month is Facebook ads. The flavor of the month is this. When in reality, if I want to dominate an area, if I want to dominate a zip code or a neighborhood, I'm going to sit here and go, okay, what if our overall strategy was we were the most visible garage door coating company in this neighborhood? Okay, so that's my strategy. Now you guys give me some tactics. How do we implement that? What tools can we use to become the most well-known, most visibly seen, well-branded company in a neighborhood of 1,000 homes, let's call it? What do you got?
Wrapping your trucks.
Truck wraps, door-to-door flyers, direct mail the zip code. And before Michael says it, he might have already typed it, but he's a Facebook guy. He's probably running Facebook ads to people that live in that neighborhood. Okay. Yeah, somebody said direct mail the zip code. Okay, well, what about this? What if you, in the summertime, what if you went to one of the ice cream trucks? Those ice cream, the ice cream guy drives around the neighborhood.
Play that funny music while they're driving around your block.
Yeah. Well, what if you were to go to him and go, hey, on every Saturday afternoon or every Sunday afternoon between this time and this time, I want to rent your truck. I want you to drive around the neighborhood, and I'm going to hang banners of my company on the side that basically says free ice cream, compliments of, and I'm just going to buy out your truck for a few hours every weekend in the summer months. Okay? And now you hear that music, and the kids are running outside and go, Mom, let's get some ice cream. It's free. And now people now know who you are in conjunction with all the other things that you guys just typed in there. So the strategy, guys, is, hey, what if we could just become the most visibly known company in this area that does what we do, but the tactic that you're brainstorming is the actual tool that you're going to use to make that happen. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, but Tina, I did all these things in certain neighborhoods, certain areas. I called the billboard company that was literally right next to the subdivision that I wanted to own. And the reason I wanted to own it is because I knew, guys, it's so much easier to dominate in a small pond than it is a big pond. Most of us that are on this call don't have these unlimited marketing budgets and don't have the luxury of shotgunning things out to the world. Now, here's something else that I want to be very clear on. There are a million different tactics in marketing, and guess what? Every one of them works. They all work. It just depends if it's going to work for you or not. Okay? And I believe that every tactic, every strategy out there, there's a way, there's a certain buyer behind that. There's a certain sales process for that. I know people will rip on a lot of the third-party lead generation sites and things like that. Well, listen, guys, I'm in the industry. And I've personally used Thumbtack 3 times in the last month for different things around my house that I needed done. And here's the thing. I hired the first guy that reached out to me all 3 times, and he reached out to me within 10 minutes of me putting my request in. I never asked what it cost. I said, when can you come? I scheduled the appointment. And then as an afterthought, I said, what's it going to cost to come fix my sink? Or what's going to, and he'd tell me what it was. But here's the thing. Every time I put a request in, I was 2 to 3 days later, I'd get several messages from other guys that were on Thumbtack going, hey, got your request. Can I come talk to you about your sink or whatever my thing was? I had already had the work done. I already paid the guy. And that's the world that we live in. So I'm not going to go off on a tangent on this, but my point here is Thumbtack works for the guy who knows how to use the tool. Those other guys, they're the ones griping and complaining that Thumbtack sucks and they just give me shit leads. Okay? So guys, you have to understand the medium in which you're using. Somebody who's pushing a button on a Thumbtack or fills out a form on a website. I mean, shoot, that even happened. I've had several guys that are 2-3 weeks after I filled out a form on their website about some electrical work are now just getting back to me, and I had the work done last week. Okay? So I think we are shooting ourselves in the foot many times as contractors because we don't have a process to field the leads. Because remember, time kills deals. So before you implement a tool to market your business, make sure you have a system in place, a process to use that tool properly. All right, I'll get off my rant on that here. So who's going to do the work? Here's the other thing. Just because the owner of the company has to have the number one priority of marketing and sales doesn't mean he has to be or she has to be the person that's actually doing the work. Somebody's got to do the work. And my encouragement to you is hire a professional. And for the record, I don't sell marketing services, so I'm not going there. Okay? But hire somebody who lives in this world just like you live in the world of garage floors or windows or whatever you do. You know, we scratch our heads and wonder why our phone isn't ringing when we're doing things ourselves too much. And there's certainly, outliers out there that have a lot of success doing their own marketing, but most contractors are not good marketers. Okay? Most guys that try to go on the cheap and build a website or do whatever it is end up struggling and paying to have a site redesigned 2 or 3 times because they did it wrong the first time, just like a homeowner who tries to do their own project. So guys, hire a professional. Okay, but your job is to ensure that the work gets done. And if you're going to do stuff in-house, you got to have that regular marketing meeting and you got to know who's responsible for what and all that other stuff. All right, so we're going to figure out where we're going, what we want, set goals that will get us there, create a strategy. Okay, we talked about that, what tools, and then assign the work and deadlines. Otherwise, this marketing stuff, this marketing plan, this strategy, this blueprint that you put together will not get done because so many things are going to hijack you and your business. All right. So, why do bank robbers rob banks, Tom?
They have a bad strategy.
Oh, because that's where the money is.
Ah.
So there was a famous bank robber like 100 years ago, and he robbed all these banks, and they finally caught him, and they're like, why do you rob so many banks? He's like, that's where they keep all the money. All right? So guys, you have to understand where the money is. You have to understand who your who is, who your ideal client is. And see, this is where one of the biggest reasons that our phone doesn't ring consistently throughout the year and we struggle with lead flow. I get it. We're in the trades. There's ups and downs with leads. But if you are like, dying for leads, then you're probably not connecting with your ideal client. Okay. So, here we go. When you understand who your ideal client is, and I'm going to ask you guys to type in some of the characteristics of your ideal in a minute. Tom, somebody lost audio. Am I still here?
I can still hear you. Yep.
All right, cool. So, guys, when you build a marketing plan around your ideal client, you're going to be more focused. Profit is higher. It costs less to get those leads. You're going to have more balance in your life because you're not going to be running around wasting time with bad leads. You're going to have less fires to put out because you're working with the type of person who respects you and your business. Okay. And last thing here is knowing who your ideal client is an ongoing process, because the more you learn and grow as an owner of your business or a salesperson or marketing person or whatever you're doing, the more you get to understand them. You're going to give you guys an example. Years ago, my ideal client, and we knew this because of we tracked every lead source, we tracked profit, tons of job costing, people that gave us the best reviews, all these. All right, here it is. My ideal client was a woman who was married to, and this is for my old painting company, is a woman who was married to an executive who was being transferred from the East Coast to the Midwest, where I lived at the time, outside of Chicago. Okay? That was my ideal client. Here's why. She was generally in charge of getting everything in that new house. She was in charge of making it the new home for her family. And those of you that are women that are on this thing, it's been my experience that whenever a family moves, that woman wants to make that her home with her love and her touch and her colors and all that other stuff immediately. She can't wait to get that other lady's colors off of her walls. Okay, that's generally how it goes. And there's other factors that I won't beat up. But give me an amen if you agree with me, ladies. All right, so here's the thing. She was married to this executive, which meant they'd been transferred probably a few times throughout their marriage and career. All right. We found that they were usually transferred anytime from 3 to 4 times in their career. And so she knew how to move. She knew what to look for. She had hired contractors in the past, and we knew she had some pain with those contractors. They respected us. We were a great fit for them because we had a team that was large enough to get in and bang out a project in a couple days, get a whole 7,000 square foot home done and ready in just a few days. We always hit the deadlines. We always beat the movers. We touched up after the movers. Okay, we created all of our communication, guys, was around this woman and what was important to her. When she would get the lead would come in, and we would talk to them, and they'd say, yeah, we're being transferred, blah, 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 from New York. And we're like, okay, cha-ching, we got this one. We would send them a link to an article that we had at the time of the best resources in your new town that you're moving to. So like, hey, here's the really cool private school. Here's the really good sushi place. Here's this. All right. We tried to make this experience of them moving into their new home more enjoyable and easier on her, because everything usually gets dumped on her when somebody gets relocated. So guys, this became a gold mine for us, and word got around with the relocation companies and things like that we were the ones to hire. That's what I'm talking about understanding who your ideal client is. Okay, and what are those fears? What keeps them up at night? And everything in your marketing, whether you're shooting a video, whether you have an About Us page on your website or a services page on your website, should be using the language that they understand. See, if I go to China right now and I don't speak Chinese or Mandarin, they're going to have a hard time understanding me. And that's what happens a lot when in our sales and marketing process with people is we show up talking English and we're standing in China and they don't understand us. They don't understand because it's not resonating with the things that are important to them. Remember, people, as much as they might like you and your company and this and that, they buy for their reasons, not their own reasons, not your reasons. You have to understand the reasons that your ideal clients buy. So do me a favor, in the box, type in a quick description right now of who you, if you had to just put all your money on a certain type of client, how would you describe your ideal client? Guys, your closing rate and your profits are going to go up guaranteed with this one thing. If you just understand this today, you're going to make more money in 2019, I promise you. Okay, so type something in the box for me. And this isn't like they make 100 grand a year and they drive a Mercedes. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, what does that ideal client look like? Tom, I'm going to put you on the spot while they're typing.
I somehow I knew that was coming, Tom.
So give us a couple examples of your ideal client. What are they frustrated with?
They're frustrated with too many different systems that don't do enough. They've probably tried a lot of different systems, but haven't found one that's a comfortable fit. Either too big a learning curve or not enough functionality. And they're growing, but they don't have systems to support that growth.
Bingo. And then, so I know you, and I know you use that language. You know, if we were to go to your website right now, guys, we would see certain language that is poking at the pain of the average contractor wanting a CRM and an estimating process and all that other stuff. So that's what I'm asking you guys to do is that. So I love this. All right. So Ronald, 60-year-old husband and wife, 60-year-old plus husband and wife homeowners. We've got new homeowners who would like to change exterior colors in their new house. It's peeling or faded. Okay. Clients that are selling their homes and fix and flippers. Busy professionals prefer to shop online. Matt, that's a good one. It reminds me, there was a point. So, and guys, it's possible to have a couple different ideal client personas. That's what they call it in the marketing world. Okay. You could have, you know, this is, I'll call her Mary, the transferred wife, right? That might be one of them. And then another one, when you said busy professionals, we also found that we did really, really well with singles that were busy. They never balked at our price. They gave us the code to their hobbies. They just wanted stuff done right. They wanted it done quickly. They were super easy to work with. They weren't nitpicking other stuff because they were busy. Right? I also found that business owners were another good fit for me because they understood that things cost money, that there's overhead and things like that. Insurance, they understood. And again, they were busy as well. Okay. So guys, I urge you to get deep into the weeds, talk to your team, talk to your salespeople, you know, like, hey, let's list out the 10 best clients we've ever had. And then just start going, what do we see as commonalities between these people? All right. Guys, I said it before, I'll say it again. This seems so simplistic, all right? Like, you know, but what I'm giving you with this one thing right now will probably put another $100,000 in your profit in 2019, okay? Minimum, if you figure this crap out. All right. So, how to find...
True. Tom, that's definitely true for any type of business. The better you know when you go into a deal that you know, not only are we going to make money, but it's going to be a good fit for our company. Because I think this also goes into company fit when you're having these questions of not only are we going to make money and we're going to be able to sell this, but this customer is really going to like what we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to appreciate it.
Right.
I mean, don't we all want to work with people who appreciate what we do?
Yeah.
You know, because they're going to tell their friends about it, and they're going to come back. So guys, right here, we've kind of covered some of these already, but like one of the things I ask is I would go, who gives us the most referrals, right? Number 3 there. And I had a home inspector guy. That dude was good for $150,000 to $200,000 worth of business like clockwork every year. So guess what I did? I'm like, well, how do I find 2 or 3 more home inspectors like him? Okay. And so it was like free money simply because of that relationship. All right. Number 1 up here is huge. What kind of customers do you not want? I didn't want a new homeowner that was buying their first home. Why? Because they just bought their first home. They're young and they have no idea what it really costs to hire a contractor. They haven't been burned enough to understand that they need to pay more money. And I didn't want to do the typical tap dance. So I'm like, I didn't want a first-time home buyer. I wanted somebody who was buying a home, okay? But I didn't want a first-time home buyer. So type something in the box for me, guys. Answer number 1 for me. Answer number 1. Just some characteristics of the type of customer you do not want. I'll give you another example. We did not want RRP jobs, the pre-1978 lead jobs as a painting company. I didn't do them. We didn't bother with them because they were a pain in the butt. I wanted the 20-year-old house with a few nail pops and a little peeling siding because it was our sweet spot. We were in, we were out. We weren't playing the stupid, game with the EPA and all of the other garbage. And I know other guys have built their business around it and they specialize. But for us, if it was we asked what year's the home, and if they're like, hey, 1976, we're like, sorry, we're not painting it. Okay. It didn't matter how big the job was. I didn't want it. All right. So Ronald says attorneys. Michael doesn't want pain in the ass. Okay, but describe that. That's what I mean. What makes them a pain in the ass? All right. Bob just said old lead 3-story homes. Okay. Like those are just not fun jobs. They're not fun for the crew and all the other crap you got to deal with. So guys, oftentimes we focus on, I just want to get as many leads as I can, as many customers. That's fine. You should want to get as many as you can. But I find you can get more clarity when you start defining what you don't want. Hopefully that makes sense to y'all. Roland says house flippers, lead and asbestos, new construction, and distance. Bingo. Okay, be clear on that, you guys. And then we talked about the client profiles, but then you create and implement a prospecting plan. And what that means is you're hunting, you're farming, you're building relationships, you're panning for gold. And I'm going to go like my home inspector guy. I'm going to create a list of all those guys because I understand that these are my best, one of my best lead sources. Okay. Tina, that's great. We don't want people selling their home in the next 5 years. Okay. My guess is that you probably don't want that because they're not going to appreciate the longevity of the work you do or something like that is where my mind goes. Okay. All right. So here's some other examples. What towns are never a good fit? I had some towns I couldn't pull a profit in if you held a gun to my head. I didn't want coupon buyers at the time. Maybe that's some. In businesses I'm a partner in now and guys that I coach, one of our big things is we often charge for estimates and consultation fees. We don't go to somebody's house. Okay, the sales process we teach in our sales academy. And if you're not unwilling to agree to a consultation fee, then we're not going to come out and meet with you. It's that simple. And that strategy alone is, putting hundreds of thousands of dollars in people's pocket every year as a contractor because they're protecting their time. And this is rooted in respect. Okay, I am not willing to go out there and be one of 8 guys that you're going to ask to tap dance in your yard and then go into witness protection program. Okay. There's certain types of projects like we talked about. So guys, there's so many different things that you can use to define this. Okay. Talked about this. Who makes you money? If you're not job costing and you don't understand where your profit comes from, you're really hurting yourself. Okay. You are leaving a lot of money on the table. All right. So maybe list your customers maybe for the last month or two, just list them all out. And I think I have a screenshot here. Yeah, like this. Simply do something like this. make one of these and just go, okay, it was Jones, it was a drywall repair job. We had a 61% gross profit. It's a small job. Have they referred us yet? No. So I'm looking for things like higher gross profits and a yes. Okay, I might be looking, hey, what are the types of projects that seem to be our sweet spot? Let me ask the group that. If I'm looking at this sheet, let's pretend this is your sheet for your company. What do you want more of?
Drywall repair.
Why do you say that?
It's the highest gross profit percent and GP per man hour. On the other hand, the wallpaper jobs make you more gross and are still a fairly high profit margin. As well, drywall repair looks, yeah, not the gross dollars. Interesting.
Yeah, so the percentage is higher, but the sales volume is lower.
Right.
And so, you know, guys, when we understand where the leads are coming from and what's turning into money and what's not, I'll tell you, listen, in my old company a long time ago, decade ago or whatever, we had a really hard time selling exterior paint jobs, which just sounds ridiculous when I say it out loud. We did hundreds of jobs a year, 300 to 400 jobs a year, and maybe 50 of them were exteriors. Okay? There's a few reasons for that. One of the reasons we just were, the guys we had were really geared for interior projects. And we knocked them out of the park. And we liked them because we didn't have weather issues with scheduling and all that other crap. You went up high less often. It was less dangerous. You never got rained out. I found that the exterior market was just way more cutthroat, and I didn't like playing the game. Now, there's some things I could have done, but the point here, guys, is when you have this data, okay, you can, you know, really learn, okay, how are we going to value our time in the company, and then choose the best fit for the people that are us. So only one person said painting. Nobody else weighed in other than Tom there in the beginning. So if this is your company, you guys, what do you want to go after here? What type of service? What type of project? Okay. This is for those of you that offer, you know, different types of projects, obviously, or different types of service. Okay. Bob wants commercial interiors. Yeah. You know what? Like if you're a painter, you know, those are my experience with those. We did great on those because guys were, they were less picky because it ain't their money. It's the company's money. You know, you didn't have somebody walking around with blue tape like a moron for 4 hours tagging everything. Okay? So like you did for the first time home buyer who dropped $3,000 on something, and that was the biggest amount of money they've ever spent in their life with a contractor. It's a different mindset. So those were all really good jobs for us. Okay. So anyway, you guys get the point here. I'm tracking this stuff. All right. Who gets you more clients? Okay. Right now, I asked you earlier, who refers us? Because when I was going to say when you hire the right client, but that's really what it is. When you bring the right client into your business, you're happier. And then when you're happier, you provide a better experience, and so do your people. Okay? When you are working for your ideal client, your team puts off a better energy and a better experience. And now in turn, you have a really fun who's now telling others about the great experience they have with you, and they refer you to their friends. When you have the wrong client, it's the opposite of all that. And here's the cool thing, guys. When you are picky about who your ideal client is, who do we normally hang out with? As human beings, we generally hang out with people that are like us. Like your best friends, there's all these scientific studies. I wish I had the data for you right now, but I didn't know I was going to say this. So there were studies done that if you look at your closest friends, you all probably make within 5 to 10% of each other. So that wife of the transferred executive, when she gives me a referral, it's rock solid. Okay. So that's why understanding who your ideal client is so important, because they hang out with people like them. And when you get referrals from them, they're awesome. All right. So we talked about this, create ideal client profiles. All right. People buy for one of two reasons, guys. It's pain or pleasure. They have a problem to solve, a pain to fix, or they're after some sort of pleasure in their life. And so when you start with that, okay, so let's go back to my example of the transferred executive's wife moving to a new town where she might not know anybody, and she's got 3 or 4 kids, and she's got movers to coordinate and all this other stuff. What are some of her fears, you guys?
Bad painter.
Yeah, they're going to mess up my new house. They're going to scratch the hardwood floors that were just refinished 2 days ago by the other guy that came in the house. What if they don't show? What if they're late and they don't hit the deadline and my mover shows up with this big, huge truck? Okay, but outside of the job, what are other things that are on their mind? Getting the kids into school, okay, figuring out where they're going to grocery shop, and on and on and on and on. And when you learn to speak to those pains and those fears in your marketing, in your messaging on your website, on your if you're going to email a quote to them or whatever it is. I'm a big fan of using video with customers and things like that. Or what are the search terms that they're going to use? Like, you understand what they're typing in. All right. And every industry has their stuff. What page do you want them landing on when they find your website? Okay. What is that woman in the East Coast searching for before she moves here? Is she hopping online and going, best private schools for the kids, highest rated school in such and such town? Well, then you should write a blog post and do your own rating of that. And then you're more likely to come up in the search, and they killed 2 birds with 1 stone. They found you, and they got a good resource for schools or whatever it might be. All right. Create the plan. Okay. Put this stuff on paper. I talk about who's going to do it, right? What needs to be done? Who's going to do it? I'm going to schedule a time to make this stuff happen. And guys, this is the execution where most people fall short. Okay. This is truth in anything, right? It's like, look at how many people set weight loss goals for the new year now, and they're already screwing it up because they're not executing. Okay. So it doesn't matter what it is in life, where you want to go in life or in business or whatever. If you don't execute, you're done. And you can't execute if you don't put it on paper and give somebody ownership of it. Whether that's you, your office manager, you outsource it, whatever it is, guys, you have to execute your plan. Okay. I won't kill that up. So listen, I want to go through some ideas for you guys. I'm going to give you a 15, 16 ideas in different categories of your marketing here, okay? Just so you have some tactical stuff to walk away from. And while I'm doing this, if you have questions, feel free to type them in the box and I'll answer them as we come. So, Tom, I don't think there's any yet, right?
Nope, I think we're pretty good so far.
All right. Guys, first thing, look at your past and current customers. They're worth about 25 to 30% more profit to you than a brand new customer. Yet we spend so much time trying to bring in brand new customers that we're often neglecting the money that is right under our nose. Okay, we're stepping over $1 to pick up a dime. And early in my career, I left millions of dollars on the table in my first 3 to 4 years of business in sales because I didn't understand this past and current client thing. So one strategy I want to give you guys here on this, probably my favorite one, all right, is right now, look at people you did work for a year ago. Let's say you have a 1-year warranty on your workmanship. Find all the people who their warranty is going to expire in the next month or 2 and pick your telephone up. And Tom, here's how it goes. You ready? I'm going to go ring, ring, and you say hello. Okay, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Tom, it's Tom with Tom's Painting. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing awesome, Tom. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, it's been about a year, right?
Yeah, coming up
Actually,
on it.
that was a trick question because I know it's been around a year because that's why I'm calling. So hey, listen, I don't know if you remember, but we do a warranty visit about a month or so before your warranty's expired. Do you remember that? us telling you that?
Actually, I do recall that. I was, and I'm glad to have heard from you.
Yeah. So, like I said, we want to make sure that if something's up with the project, that we're the ones on the hook to have it fixed and not you. So I wanted to see if I could set a time to come out in the next week, put eyes on that, and we can poke around a little bit. And if there's any issues, we'll just address them for you right away. Is that cool?
Yeah, that sounds great. In fact, there's some other stuff you can probably do for us that we've been looking to get done, and I just haven't had a chance to reach out and call you.
Sounds like a plan. I appreciate that. All right, so guys, out of role play here, we'll schedule the time. Tom threw me a bone there because he threw up, hey, there's other work, but usually it happens when you're standing there, okay? You go out, and here's what happens, guys. Most contractors run from the warranty. They avoid it. They hope people don't call. When you pick the phone up and call people, this is why they paid you more money, so that you would be there for them. And when you pick that phone up and you reconnect with them, guys, somebody who's given you money in the past is like 85% more likely to do it again versus whatever it is with a new customer who doesn't know you. And now a couple other things have happened. You're doing something nice for them and you're going out there and you're standing in their yard, and oftentimes, or their house, that you're going to find something that is not that big of a deal to take care of, and you're going to do it right on the spot, or you're going to get it scheduled. Well, then they feel like they owe you. I've had people apologize to me. I'm so sorry that you have to send a guy out to deal with that. I'm like, no, that little part of the wood is failing there. We're going to take care of that for you. Not a big deal. And then what Tom just said, hey, there's some other stuff while you're here. I can't tell you how many times that happens. So guys, you have tens of thousands of dollars sitting in your past and current client database right now. Another call you can make with these people is the did you know call, or leave a did you know infographic behind with them, a little flyer on the counter when you're done. A lot of times they don't know that you do other services. Okay. I was hired by this woman. I've told this story a million times because it just ticks me off. She had my biggest competitor paint the exterior of her house, and I called her after I drove by and saw it, and he's out there with his crew. And I'm like, Carol, what happened? I had done like 20 or 30 grand worth of work for her in the last year on the inside of her house. And Tom, you know what she said to me?
Didn't know you did exteriors.
I didn't know you did and I took it for granted that, of course, we do exteriors. Everybody knows a painter does exteriors. She didn't know. But my competitor got the job. Yeah. Okay? So, guys, pick up the phone or leave something behind, and that warranty call, and then the did you know. Hey, did you know we clean gutters? Did you know we clean windows? Did you know that we remodel, we fix drywall, or whatever it is? Guys, get in there and be top of mind with people. All right. Last thing on the client, number one here. Have a client appreciation event. Find another contractor who is like you, meaning, they deliver a great experience. They have high-end clientele, or ideal clientele that's similar to yours. Doesn't have to be high-end, whatever it is, it is. Okay, whatever that is. And pick a location at your place or their place, one of the shops or a restaurant or whatever it is. Throw $1,000 in each, and you both invite your databases to a client appreciation party, and you cater the thing, and you go all out, spend a couple thousand, $3,000, and now you have cross-pollination with all these different clients from both of your companies, and now you're more likely to have a conversation with somebody who would respect what you're doing, and the same for the buddy that you do this with. I've had multiple clients of mine do this every year, and it leads to hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales for them all the time. Okay. Long-term branding, number two. I can't say enough about you guys. We are contractors. We're local businesses. Okay. We're not Amazon. We are a local business. And if you are not building relationships, okay, kissing babies, shaking hands, volunteering, pouring beer at the Rotary Club tent at the fest, or whatever it is, you are missing out. It is not to build or paint or fix. Yeah, you might still do that. But at the end of the day, if you're not marketing and selling, you are absolutely hosed. And one of the easiest things that you can do, and it's a long-term, that's why it's long-term branding, okay, is join an association, build relationships. I don't care if it's a BNI, a Chamber of Commerce, a economic development thing, home builders association, where you're a guy that, you know, is a specialty contractor and now you're, you know, building relationships with these guys, and take the long-term approach, build relationships, and over time, I promise it will come back to you. Holy cow, I got like hundreds of ideas here. I'm trying to share them all. All right. Create a targeted influencer list. Okay, that's probably the other biggest low-hanging fruit I can give you in this category, number 2 here. What that means is, like the home inspector, who are the trades, who are the other contractors or types of businesses that stand in front of your ideal client on a daily basis? So everybody type that in the box. Like if there's another, let's just go with contractors right now, or it doesn't have to be. Like, is there another business or profession that is standing in front of your ideal client hundreds of times a year? So for me, my old painting company, it was Joe Flores, a carpet guy. Okay. Joe was absolutely, he was in 500 homes a year. And what happens when you do carpet? You want to paint. What happens when you want to paint? A lot of times you do carpet. We threw more work back to each other, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. So yeah, I see restoration companies, roofing companies, and, you know, painting companies, says Marcy. And here's how you do it. Okay. Everybody gets all wigged out about what to say. So Tom, if you're driving down the road and I see that you're a home inspector and I go, hey, I want to build my influencer list. I want to have another home inspector in my database here. I'm going to pick the phone up and I'm going to go, hey, I'm looking at your truck right now. I just called the number on your truck. Am I talking to the guy in the truck? And usually they go, yeah. And I go, hey, you inspect homes and I paint homes, and I just thought it might make sense for you and I to know each other.
That makes sense to me.
Okay. And so you're raising concrete, whoever was on here earlier. Hey, you're inspecting homes. We raise concrete. A lot of people don't know who to call for either one of the things that we do. I just thought we might need to know each other. Can I buy you a cup of coffee? I have built so many relationships on that one little word track. I just thought we should know each other. And you don't hit a home run every time, but I've hit plenty of singles over the years with that one thing. All right. Free coffee day. Long-term branding, right? Meaning I'm in the neighborhood. So if there's a mom and pop coffee shop that's smack dab in the middle of your ideal client territory, I've done this several times. I would go to that coffee shop and I say, I want to buy everybody who comes in here a drink for the next 2 hours. And I would stand there with my company shirt on, and they'd walk up and I go, hey, I'm Tom with blah, blah, blah company. And we do a lot of work in the neighborhood here. And I just wanted to thank you guys. We've had, if it weren't for this community, I wouldn't have a business. And so I'm just buying you whatever you want to drink today. Oftentimes people would ask for it, but I'd drop, I don't know, $200 or $300 over 2 hours. And people are like, buy whatever they want. They wanted a sandwich, I'll buy you a sandwich too. I don't care. I didn't nitpick it. And guys, that's putting you in front of people and you're building your brand, because now you're likable. You're a face. And, a couple times a year, I might go back to that same coffee shop and do it again. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. Number 3 here. We're almost done. Direct response is exactly what it is. It means like I do something and somebody calls me now. Okay. That's direct response. So I personally think, if you're not emailing your database at least a couple times a month, you're missing out. Don't be trying to sell them something all the time. Give them some tips. Hey, here's how you keep your concrete clean, or whatever. Here's, or I don't know. You fill in the blank. But you got it. It's easy. It's low friction. It's there. But another thing I think that people are really missing the boat on is Zillow search. Okay. So if you sell something that's really unique, like if you're a swimming pool guy, if you're a I work with a lot of water feature guys, koi pond contractors. There's a place where you can put keywords into Zillow, and you could look up homes that have been sold in the last however much time, and you put in that keyword like koi pond, swimming pool, outdoor kitchen, whatever it is, if you do things like that. And then it'll give you a list of all the homes that are sold then. And now you have all those addresses. And now I'm going to take those addresses. So like if I'm a pond contractor, I know that house has a pond. So I'm going to mail them something every month for the rest of eternity because I know that house has a pond and I'm a pond guy, okay, or a pool guy or whatever it might be. Also, if I'm I know there's things that we can see from Google Earth, all right, or whatever they call it now, maps or whatever, okay, and certain yards and certain things like that on the outside of the home. So guys, resource for direct response type stuff. And then another one here, direct response, is if you are not training your employees in the field how to upsell, you're missing out, because every upsell opportunity is another lead you don't have to generate for your company. You're already in the house. Get them some sales training. They're grown-ups. We got 19 and 21-year-olds driving 300 Marines under the ocean. Your people can talk about money on a job site, okay? So for God's sake, you are leaving, probably 10%. So if you're $1 million company, you're at least 100 grand in missed revenue if you're not teaching your people to upsell out in the field. One of my business partners has a $1.5 million company, and his two foremen, his two crew, he has like 4 employees, by the way. His 2 foremen combined sold just under 500,000 of that in upsells.
Wow.
Okay. At a massive high profit. All right. So guys, and that's direct response to me. Yeah, there's all the, direct mail and things like that. And that's a whole nother conversation, which I think also makes sense in a sniper view. Like, I want the homes in this one neighborhood. I don't want to send out 40,000 pieces a month. I want to send out 20,000, or I want to send out, I want to hit houses like 2 and 3 times more approach than I do the shotgun approach. And then you track it and go from there. Last thing, a couple miscellaneous things, and I don't see any questions yet, so that's fine. This is like the biggest no-brainer of the world here, Tom. I feel even stupid saying this, but a lot of times we don't do this because we outthink ourselves.
Always.
What is working now for you? And do it again.
Right.
Okay. Like, if Facebook ads is working for you, then spend twice as much on Facebook ads than you've been spending.
Yeah.
Double down. I have a client that's
tracking. Find out what's working now and do more of it.
Bingo. So I had somebody says, hey, the last 2 years I've spent every 10 grand I spend on Google ads, I do 100 grand in sales. And I said, well, what have you spent each year the last 2 years in Google ads? And they're like 10 grand a year. I said, why aren't you spending 30 grand a year? Okay. So a lot of times we're looking for the new and shiny thing because we're bored or we're emotional about a lead source or whatever it might be. Guys, look at the data. What's working? Double down. Okay. And then one other miscellaneous thing here would be, don't be afraid to perform other services to get in the door. All right. Most people that hire a home improvement contractor have other things that your people could do that are really easy. So for instance, I know a lot of window cleaner guys, they also clean gutters and do some pressure washing. Okay. But their main business, I can't tell you how many guys get in the door because they clean somebody's gutters for $150 in an hour. And then they go, oh yeah, we're also a window cleaning company. Okay. So, and that's more for the guy that's a smaller business that's just, maybe a one-man show or whatever it is. Don't be afraid to, go shovel snow if you need to. Okay. Like, hey, I'd like to shovel your driveway here. And in return, I want to give you my card. And if you ever need any painting or anything done, let me know. If you're not doing anything anyway, you might as well go out and market that way and serve people. So guys, this marketing thing's a mindset, okay? And it's about being obsessed. And there are two things I think we should be doing in our business every day of the week. And that's, marketing and hiring. Those two things. And hiring's another topic. But every single day, there's got to be something going on in our businesses, because every single day, people are looking for the stuff we do. Every single day, your overhead has a big appetite and it's eating. And if you're not feeding that thing, you're in trouble. All right. You can't take our foot off the gas. And that's one of the biggest things that stops a company from scaling. All right. I've helped several businesses scale up and things like that. And the three things it usually comes down to are sales and marketing and sales, people, and then the processes they have in place. And it's really hard to get the right people, and it's really hard to have the right processes when you don't have the sales coming in. If you don't have the sales coming in, it's because you're not fanatical about figuring out this marketing game. So, guys, if you ever want to get in touch, just head to thecontractorfight.com. My email is tom@thecontractorfight.com. You can check out Contractor Fight TV on YouTube and the Contractor Fight podcast. It's all linked through the website there. So if you just go there, you can find stuff. I'm good for any questions for the next couple minutes. If you got anything, Tom, otherwise we're good.
Nope, I'm good. I appreciate everybody coming, and thank you, Tom. As always, as always, I end up learning more than I think everybody else learned. So it's always helpful, and a lot of good stuff in there. And like you said, you got to get out there and just make sure you're doing things and doing more of what works. If anybody has any questions, just fire them off into the chat box, and it does look like there's one, actually a couple. So one is about, can we view this somewhere? Yes, we will publish this on our YouTube channel probably within a day or so. And then there's one here for Tom. Would you like to hire a salesperson this year? You recommending? We would like to hire a salesperson this year. Are you recommending commission only?
Yeah. So a commission-only sales guy is going to need a bunch of leads, okay? Otherwise, why would he work for you? So if you're not feeding that person a ton of leads, it's going to be really hard for you to get somebody who's good and who's going to stay. So I don't know how many leads you're getting, Bob, but let's say you're getting 40 a month, and that's you selling all the jobs. Well, you're going to need to be at 80 or 100 a month to bring a sales guy on, unless you just want to totally get out of sales. I don't know what your money situation is and all that other stuff. The other side is, if you expect them to sell and also prospect and things like that, then that's where you put a little bit of a base salary in there to compensate them for all the prospecting time. So it's a great question, but there's a lot of aspects to it. But in short, if you got a lot of leads, I think commission only is the best way to go, off of the gross profit, not off of the gross sale. So if it's $10,000 job and you have a $5,000 gross profit, I would commission him off the gross profit. That way he's more likely to work with your crew and cooperate and not sell jobs on the cheap and things like that.
Nice.
All
Any
right.
other questions?
I think we're good.
Tom, that was a great job. As I said, Tom, nice. I got a whole bunch of things on my list of to-dos after listening to you. I know I'm supposed to be in the business, but there's always something new you learn and pick up. It's great.
Well, I appreciate you having me again, and you guys have an awesome day. And please reach out. We got a bunch of free resources there at the website, and to help you, and a lot of articles on marketing and things like that. And we'll go from there.
Great. Thanks again, Tom, and thanks everybody for attending today. We'll look forward to seeing you at our next Success webinar. We have one pretty much once a month, and we hope to see you then. Thanks, everybody.